Well, let's move on and talk about crime, because a new report by the Bureau of Public Safety shows that the Ashanti region is the murder capital of the country, with about 1 out of every 5 cases taking place somewhere in that region. Now, the report nabbed the Ghana Public Safety and Crime Reports captured events from January to December 2021 and recorded more than 40% increase in violent crimes. Armed robberies were also rampant in the Ashanti and Greater Accra regions, each recording some 19% of cases. It says that most of the violent crimes recorded in last year took place at places of worship, offices, shops, highways, and entertainment centers, rather than in homes as well. Also, we've been trying to look at the details of that 2021 report by the Bureau of Public Safety. You have the first point here indicating that violent crimes reported in year 2021 increased by 40.8%. Then the story goes on to indicate that there were also reported associated deaths, which increased by some 53.7%. But there's also a case here that the top 3 most reported violent crimes in 2021 are actually murder, manslaughter, armed robbery. And then you have the very final one here, which is the aggravated assault. But we also know that that's not all of the details in that report. In fact, there's also another point here which talks about the case in Greater Accra and the Ashanti regions, indicating that these 2 areas reported the highest incident of armed robberies in the country, which with each region actually returning to some 19% of reported armed robbery in 2021. So that's just a bit of the report. In fact, there are more details that we can indicate and bring to you right now. We know that the Ashanti region is the murder capital, as that report is indicating, of the country, returning of course 23% of all homicide cases reported across the country in 2021. And also there's a case about the central region which dominated reports in terms of aggravated assault cases across the country, by returning to some 23% of all aggravated assault cases reported for that particular period. So these are some of the incidents of crime that Bureau of Public Safety talks about, but highlights, for instance, here, the Ashanti region, which it is terming, and the report is using that word as the murder capital. So what's accounting for all of this, and why are we having such a challenge here in our country? Joining me now is Nana Yaw Akwada, Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety, who is joining us now for a conversation on this. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So, given the report that we have now, how did you, first of all, come about the findings that we're seeing?
Thank you very much, Blessed, and good afternoon to your viewers. Well, the Public Safety and Crime Report, which started in 2016, has been basically pulled together by picking up reported stories or reported incidents of public safety interest. So we have 9 indicators that we pick from 10 selected online portals. Of course, your portal is inclusive, MyJoy Online. We have City Newsroom, GBC, and several others, 10 of them, which are all operating under Ghana's laws and come under the radar of the National Media Commission. These stories or events, once reported, are captured. They are validated through a 72 window. And then once it is validated, it is logged for analysis. This is what we've been doing throughout the year, January 1st to 31st December of each year, weekends and public holidays inclusive. These stories, we pull them together, we analyze them, and we put the data out for public consumption. Of course, since 2017, we have engaged with the police, we have engaged with the National Road Safety Authority, we have engaged with NADMO, and all other state actors that we find relevant at each point. There was a time that we even engaged with the National Ambulance outfit. And so this year, we are certainly looking forward to engaging with the Ghana Police Service,
Right.
engaging with the National Road Safety Authority, among others.
But there are many out there who are interested to know the causative factors. For instance, you go ahead to say that the Ashanti region is the murder capital. That's quite alarming, and there are many wondering, what's really the cause for this?
Well, I wish I could tell you the cause on authority, but from where I sit and the work we have done, we restricted ourselves to just the quantities. So I'm able to share with you quantitatives, just the numbers, raw numbers, and nothing more. Any other thing would be a guesswork, would be an intelligent guess, because probably I'm a watcher of the space and I've been in the space for a while.
Right.
But I see Senior joining us. I'm sure he will share more.
And it's a good time to expand that conversation because obviously Nana-Yaa Akwada has been looking at the figures, looking at the sharp rise in crime, but there's also a need for us to bring in the security perspective. So since the Bureau of Public Safety has just done the study, let's look at the sciences behind this. Richard is on with us. Richard Kumado is a security analyst. Also, Nana-Yaa Akwada is with us. So, Nana, just hold on briefly. Richard, so here we are. The Ashanti region is being classified as the murder capital here in the country. Do you agree with that finding? And we're interested in knowing perhaps what's accounting for this. Given your security background, what can you say about the causative factors?
Definitely, if you look at the work Nana-Yaa Akwada and his team has done over the years, they don't specifically pick particular regions and tag them for which of the crimes or which of the safety measures they are looking for. In this particular report, Ashanti region is leading in murder and Greater Accra region is leading in armed robbery, which means that the permutations have changed. What might be leading murder in Ashanti region might not be the same factors just like Greater Accra region with armed robbery. One of the things that came to mind when you're talking about murder cases in Ashanti region, from the latest survey I have done in the field, I think a lot of arms are being paraded in Ashanti region, and most people are taking the law into their own hands.
I mean, we don't want to sound alarming, so you would have to provide some data to back that, or perhaps some piece of evidence just to lead us on to what you're talking about.
I've spoken to senior security officers in Ashanti region, and one of the key things that drive some of these murder cases is lack of conclusiveness of many of the murder cases that has come to their notice, irrationalized behavior. And I would have given you the data from the Statistics Bureau of the Ghana Police Service to see the actual causes of what is driving some of these ones. But I think many of the things we can talk about from a scientific perspective and from security intelligence point of view is that once you are having many murder cases in Ashanti region, intelligence officers are interested in what is causing the murder, and they are using arms. It means that a lot of arms have gotten into the place. These are not using cutlasses or knives or something. These are arms that are being used to murder some other people who might be finding themselves wanted at the other side. Then again, lack of conclusive investigation. Once these two things are done and people are prosecuted for the crimes they've committed, it will lower the numbers drastically.
And Nana-Yaa Akwada, let's talk about, and Richard, just stay with us. Nana-Yaa Akwada, let's talk about the Greater Accra region, for instance. Are you concluding that generally security is improving in the national capital?
Well, Blaise, I think the point that Senior Kumado made, and permit me to refer to him as Senior Kumado, when I went to Form 1 in 1989, he was ahead of me.
Interesting.
And he remains my senior in the industry, yes. So he made a point in reference to firearms, and you attempted to moderate him. But the fact is that firearm use in the commission of reported violent crime increased for the third year running. And if you look at and this is about 58% in 2021, okay? So, but if you look at the increase from 2019 to 2020, 2019 to 2020, it was just 22%. And from 2020 to 2021, we are looking at 58%. That is phenomenal. And so I don't think that what he said without a shadow of doubt, I would doubt it, especially when highlight number 8 highlight number 6 indicated that 74% of reported armed robbery cases involve the use of firearms, and 20% of homicides, the murder cases, involve also the use of firearms. I think that he's speaking to the data as it is, and the events that we are drawing these statistics from are actual events that happen. They are not like a desktop research or someone extrapolating anything. These are events that have occurred. And so we want to put that in the back now and then attempt to answer your question.
The concern about the national capital, yes.
Great. Greater Accra region, we cannot isolate Greater Accra out of Ghana, say maybe we are not safe in Greater Accra, but we are safe in other regions. I would not want to look at that. At least the data that we have, I wouldn't want to present it in that manner.
Okay.
We attempted to situate all the regions in the areas where the activities were very predominant. And we have said that when it comes to armed robbery cases, Greater Accra and Ashanti region were in the lead. This is a region where armed robbers found it very, very profitable to apply their activities.
Right.
As to whether it means that security is poor or security is excellent, we want to leave that to the police or to the law enforcement agencies.
But what's the essence of shying away? What's the essence of shying away from the interpretation? I guess that's the main concern out there, right?
Very well, Bless. You know that in this advocacy job, sometimes when you have to meet the people who are the center of it, you don't want to appear to be already condemning them even before you meet them. We have put the data out there. We would want to meet them and share with them what we have seen and make our proposals to them and listen to them. So until we have done that, it will be very difficult for me now to say, but especially when only a week or two ago, we had the National Security Minister in the House of Parliament saying that the country is safe. And when this thing came to light on other platforms, I told them, well, I cannot say the country is safe because of the data that I am privy to. I cannot say. But of course, the National Security Minister can say because he has a police guard by his side 24/7. The last time when an MP, and may he rest in peace, and apologies to his family, was gunned down, by armed robbers or by robbers, we were told immediately, that the country was not safe for them. And immediately they provided them, each of them with security, close body protection. So they don't leave our reality. And we have to push down the reality that we face on a daily basis to them. If you ask me, I'm afraid I don't want to be in the headline saying, I have said the country is not safe.
At least judging from the data that you have, you've given us a sense of what's happening across the country. So let's also bring in Richard. So now we're looking for practical solutions. For you, what should be the topmost priority for the security, the law enforcement agencies, the Ghana Police Service, and those involved? Where should we be starting from?
I don't think the data Nana Yaw and his group put out there will be different from. The deviation will not be so much far from what the Statistics Department of the Ghana Police have.
Yes, precisely. And I guess that's why we're looking for solutions. So for you, what should be the topmost priority? Where do we start from? And how do we get the results?
What I'm about to say as part of the solution is that even if they don't have it, this particular report will get to the desks of the intelligence service of the Ghana Police Service, it will get to immigration, it will get to national security. What they do is that they interpret the data, and by interpreting the data means that armed robbery has become a major issue for us in Greater Accra region. What do? They will increase security surveillance, and they will ensure that the key risk areas where issues of armed robbery has dominated, but the data they have from their daily assignment, they will begin to address it. One of the things they must also do is to collaborate their efforts more. And I believe in collaboration with the other agencies. It helps them to put the right man at the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. And public safety and security is their priority. And I have no doubt they'll be able to diagnose the report and deal with it precisely.
It's a public safety report, which means that obviously there should be the concern about the average citizen out there and those in the public. How do we complement the efforts by the security agencies? Because indeed, if we're to ensure safety, I'm not sure it should be one-sided.
No, definitely. Public engagement is one of the things you cannot take away from Dan Parry. That has become part of his leadership style. And I encourage him to continue, because when it comes to crime prevention and to gain security compliance in that direction, they need the public as key stakeholders. And with what they have done so far, I know it's a tough job.
Right.
It's full of uncertainty and complexities, but I believe that once they begin to engage the public and engage people with the requisite skills within and without, they should be able to do a good job.
Okay.
And for that matter, I'm not so much
Right.
scared of them reading the report and begin to find solutions to them one after the other.
And I'm glad that you're mentioning that big name, the IGP. There's been a lot of expectation on the IGP. The fact that he's performing quite well. That's the general view out there. But looking at the report that we have now, does it cast a verdict on his performance generally?
No, Ghana Police without Dan Parry, you will give them about 3/10. But with Dan Parry, you are tempted to give them 6 or 7/10.
Interesting.
And the point is that it is his leadership style. What he brought to the job is leadership. And he's able to bring the big boys on board, the likes of Kwesi Furi and the likes of Kofi Kwachi, Edward Tabri, Raymond Adofin, and many of those big boys who know what the job is. And that is what is giving him the results. People must understand that it's a complex environment, and it's as much as he's doing his very best to clean up the system. The details are that there's a little bit more they can do about it, and there's much work to be done. In this 3 space, if you ask me what he needs to do, is to continue in that direction, and where issues of public safety has come to the fore, like the report we are discussing, they should give it the necessary attention. And I believe that with the support of the team we have, they will be able to come out successfully in many of the areas they have the resources to deal with.
Nana Yaw, let me wrap up with you. So going forward, what's the Bureau of Public Safety expecting, first of all, from the general public, and then there's the aspect of the law enforcement agencies and even government itself?
Well, I think Senior Richard has mentioned police engagement with the public. I think it's something that we cannot underestimate. Police work actually thrives on information. And so they must make all efforts to build bridges with the public, coordinate with the public so that they will be able to get the capital they need to do their job, which is information. Number 2, both of you mentioned Dan Parry, Dr. Dan Parry. I think he's a great guy. I met him a day before he was sworn in. I think he has good plans. We did a survey about the police under his administration, and it looked good. I'm looking forward to June 30th, when we will have the half-year report. Then we'll be able to fairly say that this is a Dan Parry report, and this is how the country is faring under Dan Parry after 8 months. So look out for that June half-year report.
We'll certainly be on the lookout for that.
And then also, I think the police must work on the visibility program, which is almost fizzling out, because we realize that most of these violent crimes did not occur in the homes of people. They occurred while people were in transit. And if the police are no longer on the roads, that is what the criminals will take over. That's how the criminals will take over the transitional spaces and perpetrate their acts.
In fact, I was going to ask about the recommendations for individuals as well. What's contained in that report? What should we be mindful of?
I think I have indicated, let me just reiterate it.
Yes, particularly what the report says about, because it might be a general case, but the individual also needs to take some precautions.
I mentioned transitional spaces. These are spaces where you do not have control over who enters and who comes in and who goes out. in these spaces, when you find yourself in transitional spaces, we expect the individual to be aware of his environment. So be minded that if you are sitting in a park, that is a transitional space. If you are walking on the road, that is a transitional space. If you are in your car, that is a transitional space that people can approach you at any time, show you a gun and pick your valuables or even murder you. And so when we find ourselves in such transitional spaces, at least the data say that 78% of all the violent crimes, the murder, the armed robbery, and the aggravated assaults all occurred most of them, 78% occurred in transitional spaces. So individuals must be aware of their environment. Awareness will buy them time. Time will buy them options, and then they'll be able to not to become targets of criminals.
Well, would have to leave it here. I'm grateful that you've been able to join us both. Nana Yaw Akwada, Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety, Richard Kumado, Security Consultant, and also a fraud consultant as well. Thank you.